most of these people will not give you an allocation until you pay. So it was upon the point of allocation, these people will probably have realized that there's a scam involved, because it's at that point that they probably would get a surveyor and tell the surveyor, this is the title document, let me know the delineations of this 7,000 square meters. Then you now see that you've been given a place outside the delineation of the land. So this place now, what paper does it have? Over 40% subscribes to this property, and the case is still ongoing as I speak to you.
What happens if someone who purchases a land, right, maybe transferred, they place in the document provision for the next of kin to be captured, like in case of death, can it be transferred? Is it captured?
In Abuja, there are no laws restricting landlords to the number of years they should be able to rent out their property. There is no law as far as Abuja is concerned. In most parts of Nigeria, the exception of Lagos, that a landlord has to wait for 1 year before he increases his rent. It is at the sole discretion of the landlord. However, what the law states that the landlord has to increase his rent after due negotiation and consultation. I would not say you do not have a right to go to court. You do have a right to go to court. But at the end of the day, you will not be getting what you intend to get. Most times, my friends tell me that I like to speak in the favor of landlords. No, it's not like I'm speaking for the landlords or in favor of the landlord. I'm speaking as to what the law is as far as Abuja is concerned. I've seen a lot of things as far as Abuja real estate is concerned.
Hello and welcome to Urban Well Dialogues, the podcast for everything real estate. I am your host, Iberibi, and today with me on the set is Osinachi. Osinachi is a legal practitioner, and we're going to be talking about legal issues as regards leasing and rates. Welcome, Osinachi. It's a pleasure having you on set. Would like you to tell us more about yourself before we proceed.
Hello, Iberi. I'm happy to be here with you guys today. My name is Anna Osinachi, hope like she rightly said earlier, and I'm a legal practitioner and a real estate consultant.
So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about what we need to know about legal documents in leasing and renting. And Osinachi will be sharing some insights to us concerning that. So I'd like to ask, what are the documents that a buyer of a property needs to ensure that the seller renders to him to ascertain that he has all the legal documents in place?
Okay, so this question is dynamic because it comes pre-purchase and post-purchase. So I'd like to clarify, am I to answer the question, focusing on pre-purchase?
Okay, so you can break it, you're the professional, it's based, so you can break it into segments, what we need to know pre-purchase and post-purchase. Okay, so pre-purchase, at that point, we should be talking about due diligence, which is very primary for any purchaser of a property. And when we are talking about due diligence as far as Abuja is concerned, this will solely depend on the type of property you want to buy. I would say, for instance, there are different titles in Abuja, and the most authentic titles as far as Abuja is concerned is that of FCDA, which can be verified under ages. We have that of Federal Housing Authority, FHA. Yes, these are the two primary places where that can transfer legitimate title as far as Abuja is concerned. So on that leg, if it's a private property, you would conduct the due diligence. If it's under ages, if that is FCDA now, you'd go to ages and verify the title. Well, if it's on the FHA, you'd go to FHA. Now, most times people do not even have the resources to purchase the single paper, single title, single properties. So what is common out there is people buying from estates. So how do you conduct your due diligence if you're buying from estates? So for instance, you buy from Estate A, and Estate A has an FCDA titled land. So you take a photocopy of the title document. Ideally, you should take the photocopy, make the necessary payments, make an application to the director of land and submit it, then the estate will bring the original for citing at ages. This is the ideal thing to be done. But most times this does not happen, because most estates are not willing to bring out their title documents. And at times,
The reason for that,
at times I can understand why.
there is a protect. Are they trying to protect something, or
No, not because they're trying to protect. At times, estates are as large as 3 hectares, 7 hectares. And imagine how many families are occupying these hectares of land. So, for instance, if I use 1 hectare of land, which is about 10,000 square meters, okay, you may have as much as say 30 something, depending on the prototype, or 20 something people living on that 1 hectare of land. So at every stage, every day, you're taking your original document out and presenting for. So it could be tiring. It could be tiring, yes. So a lot of developers do not give out or do not take their listing out for. They just believe you probably can do window search, which is illegal. There is nothing right about it.
really?
Yes, but people do it. It is not right.
So how do you ascertain that the property is authentic? Like it's not
It's unencumbered. So when you apply for the search report would come out. And when the search report will come out, and it will state if there is any form of encumbrance on the land before you purchase it. It will be stated in the search report. If there's a mortgage on it, you'd see it. If there's a lien on it, you'd see it. If there's court on it, you'd see it. But at times, search due diligence does not begin and end with what is it called, with ages. Yes, this is us focusing on FCDA titled properties. It does not begin and end with ages. If you have done that of ages, you can as well go to court, to the central registry, to confirm that the property you are buying does not have any litigation. Yes, it's free from litigation. There is also another leg to due diligence, which is police, which I believe should even be preliminary. Police, you go to the police station, because when any issue arises as to land or anything, most times where people first go to is the police station
to make it.
to make a report at the police station before they now proceed further. So if you check with the police within that jurisdiction and there's no problem, you can now go to ages, then go to court. So there's also another level to it, which is survey. This is very important. And a lot of people do not do this. Now, I have witnessed a scenario or a case where a developer owns a plot of land and encroached into a buffer beside his land that he has verified does not belong to anybody. It's a green area. Yes. So he began to sell that place to people using the title document of the one that is his own. Do you understand? So when you're doing your due diligence on a 2,000 or 7,000 something square meters of land, I remember correctly, everything would show on that, the one that has development approval, everything checks out. So everything checks out.
Someone who encroached, like in this case, so
the only way that kind of person would have been caught ab initio is if you go with a surveyor.
Okay.
Because they would give you a location. Although this is still circumspect, rather than circumspect, this is still very tricky in the sense that most of these people will not give you an allocation until you pay. So it was upon the point of allocation that these people will probably have realized that there's a scam involved, because it's at that point that they probably would get a surveyor and tell the surveyor, this is the title document. Let me know the delineations of this 7,000 square meters. So when he lets you know the delineations of the land, then you now see that you've been given a place outside the delineation of the land. So this place now, what paper does it have? Over 40% subscribes to this property, and the case is still ongoing as I speak to you.
really,
Yes. So surveying any land you want to buy, it is very important and should never be downplayed.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. What happens if someone who purchases a land,
Right.
dies,
How can it be Can it be transferred, like to his next of kin? Is there a place in the document that has provision for the next of kin to be captured, like in case of death or in case of death, can it be transferred to the next of kin? And is it captured?
Okay, so under the Nigerian law, there are two ways to transfer title, right? Rather, there are two ways to transfer, or rather, there are two ways a person can transfer title. So that would now depend on how the person died. So a person who dies with a will dies testate. A person who dies without a will dies intestate. That means he does not have a will. So the processes of transferring title to his next of kin, or it's different. So the person who dies with a will, that is testate, could easily, the executor of his will or his next of kin could take the will, the original copy of the will, to any high court within where the person lived and worked and has his properties. For instance, even though I am from Rivers State, and I die in Abuja, and my next of kin is to apply. I have a will, and my next of kin is to apply to the court. You would apply to the High Court in Abuja. Okay, yes, where I live and I work and I have my properties. Yeah, so that's where he would do the application to the High Court, and he will be given what we call probate form 48, if I remember correctly, and form 49, which he would fill. And the court would start up the processes of we call the processes at the probate registry, and there's a waiting period for this, which is like 21 days. Okay, yeah, after the publication, because they would have to do a publication to ascertain or to ensure that there is no objection to the claim that this person is this person's next of kin related here. So after the 21 days, that the probate registry would do all the necessary things, and they would transfer the dead person's property to the actual next of kin. So this is one of the ways of transferring title when a person dies. The other way is when a person dies without a will. Okay, it becomes more cumbersome.
Yeah.
So the persons that are statutorily allowed to apply for the person's to apply to become the next of kin to the person's estate are either a sibling, family, like a spouse, or children, the person's children. These are the only person. So the processes are entirely different, but then it is possible to transfer title. That is the long and short of it. If you die with a will, you go through the probate. You die without a will, you still go through the probate. However, these are ways you transfer title from a dead person to a living person without any issues.
Are there government regulations in terms of lease? Okay, what I mean is, are there regulations that say that a house must be leased yearly or 2 year, or is it a 2-year lease? Is there any such restriction? Because we have some landlords that say that you cannot, their own property goes for 2 years. It's not up for 1 year lease. So is there any regulation that helps us control that, or is up to the landlord to decide what he wants to do with his property?
Okay, so primarily in Nigeria, or rather, I would speak as to Abuja. In Abuja, there are no laws restricting landlords as to the number of years they should be able to rent out their property. There is no law stating that. And also, I would like to add to that there is also no law telling landlord when to increase his rent and when not to increase.
Oh, sorry to come to know.
Okay, so that's good that you're here. So because I've seen a lot of arguments on this. Okay, there is no law as far as Abuja is concerned, and most parts of Nigeria, with the exception of Lagos, that states that a landlord has to wait for 2 years, that a landlord has to wait for 1 year before he increases his rents. Okay, so it is at the sole discretion of the landlord. However, what the law states that the landlord has to increase his rent with after due negotiation and consultation with his tenant, it shouldn't be arbitrary in the sense that you just wake up and you just increase rates and discuss it. But be that as it may, if the landlord discusses with you and you still do not feel that he is justified by increasing the rents, so it's either you pay or you leave.
Oh, really? Yes. Oh, really? Right. The tenant doesn't have a cover in the sense of, okay, I feel that this increment is exorbitant. He doesn't have a cover that grants the audience to say, no, please, I can't have you increase. This sum is outrageous and I can't pay. So he's left with the option of leaving if he can't make that payment.
Okay, so primarily, there is a contract binding the relationship between a landlord and a tenant. See, yes. So if it is stated in the tenancy agreement that before the landlord increases his rent, it would be at least 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. Okay, then it's enforceable. Okay, right. Yes, that's the end. Yes. So if this is not provided and you guys have sat down and tried to renegotiate and it does not work, you do not have any statutory right to stay in the property beyond your allowed period, like beyond your yearly rental or monthly rental, as the case may be. Yes.
Okay, so but is there a certain percentage? For instance, okay, a certain percentage to the increments. For instance, 50% increase, 100%, or the landlord can just wake up and give you anything because he owns the house.
Okay, so I had about 4 or 5 months ago, I think I had to do a little bit of this for clients, right? Where he had certain persons occupying his plaza property, yes, and he increased the rents according to them over, I think, 60% or so, right? Yes, 60%. So they were clamoring that it was arbitrary. So I had to be the one to tell them, with numerous analysis, both from the market standpoint, from the legal standpoint, and all that. At the end of the day, we were able to, push them to at least not mid-ground, get what we wanted, because we like it. So I'm saying this to say that there is no percentage as to what a landlord is allowed to increase his rents to.
So he can do whatever he
is. Yes, he can do whatever he chooses to do with his property. So it's either you, as the tenant, agree to pay for it, or you leave at the expiration of your tenancy.
Oh, really?
Yes. However, you do not have, I would not say you do not have a right to go to court. You do have a right to go to court. But at the end of the day, you will not be getting what you intend to get, which is saying that the court will tell the very, 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 very circumstance. Yes, because this can be backed up, especially if the landlord knows what he's doing. This can be backed up by facts surrounding where he is. Do you understand? Yeah, at times, most times, my friends tell me that I like to speak in the favor of landlords. Yes, no, it's not like I'm speaking for the landlords or in favor of the landlord. I'm speaking as to what the law is as far as Abuja is concerned, right? So yes, they'll say rents are arbitrary at times. It's either you renegotiate the terms or you put it in the contract ab initio. Yeah, that is why it's always good to have your lawyer go through your tenancy agreements or whatever you're doing, so that if need be, these things are discussed upfront, and not when the tenancy is still subsisting, when it now looks like you may be at the mercy of another person, right?
Right, interesting. So it means that in summary, the landlord has an overhand. That's also what it means.
Yes, see, the government did not actually build a house for you. Yes.
Interesting.
And there are factors to put into consideration too. There is the inflation.
Okay.
Yes. It's his business. He builds that so that he probably will be able to eat. The things you're buying in the market, he is also buying it. However, going morally, would be where you say it's unfair. It's not fair. But what is fair?
Who cares about morals?
Exactly. What is fair really? What is fair really? So there is no law that says that a landlord cannot increase his rent as much as he lacks his actual rights.
Okay. It's okay. I would like you to share personal experiences with handling issues with land and then property. To share issues of documentation. Okay. You just shared landlord and tenant. So that's so can we talk about issues with land documentation and how you're able to?
Okay, I think the most fraudulent experience I've had has been that of the survey thing. That's the only opportunity. Yes, but not encouraged. Yeah, he encouraged, but selling a land that's not it. There's not, but the adjoining areas that was not allocated to him with the title of the adjoining plot. So he is already developing in this plot, and he will tell you that all of this is the land, and you are visibly seeing that his project is ongoing on this land. So you will ordinarily not just think that this other part does not belong to him. He will give you the title document of this part. He will do your due diligence with Aegis, development control, and UPR. Everything checks out. URP rather, urban and regional planning. Everything checks out because it's not the other title. Okay. So at the end of the day, he gives you the allocation to the other side of it. And you're looking to start because there's development approval. There's everything. When can I start my project? Nada. So that is the most scariest thing I have experienced in my real estate journey.
Okay. So how,
as far as fraud is concerned.
So how is it also remedy that?
Remedy it. I'm still on it. I'm sorry. I am sitting on it.
Oh dear.
Yes. It has been the most fraudulent experience I have had.
But is there a way out? Like, can it be?
Oh, of course, it can be remedied. It can be remedied, but like I tell people something, as far as transactions are concerned, I would advise that you keep the money. Let the other person take you to court. Not the other way.
You should keep the money now, the seller.
No, I thought we're talking like generally. Don't allow yourself be in a position where somebody else is with the money you're chasing. I don't know if you get me. Okay? Let them chase you. Be with the money instead. Let them chase you.
Then trying to retrieve your money.
Yes, then try. It's difficult retrieving your money from these people. And that is the reason why people have to be very careful when doing. I have seen it from different angles. So I don't know what angle anybody wants to come from. Again, I've seen a lot of things as far as Abuja real estate is concerned. So you all have to be very careful and diligent. Yes, professionals who have seen it, who have good experience as far as these things are concerned, in order not to make the same mistakes that they probably have made in their journeys. Yeah.
Was interesting. So all she's saying, ensure that you engage the services of a legal practitioner.
A legal practitioner who's surveying. Yes, in the field. A surveyor too, very important.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it seems it's been a very wonderful time having you on this podcast. They're so insightful. I learned a lot of things, and I'm sure also the viewers out there. I do hope to have you again on this podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
We've come to the end of today's podcast on Urban World Dialogues. I remain your favorite host, Eberibe. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe to all our social media platforms. See you in the next episode.